Hi guys, today we are going to talk about graphing linear equations. Okay, so example 1 tells you some of the basic stuff and all the location of different things. A, x-axis, let's label them. Y-axis. And you have origin as 0, 0. Quadrant. Quadrant starts with quadrants is counterclockwise, so therefore it's C for cookie if you can remember it. 2, 3, 4, and C for cookie. Okay, hopefully that will help. We're gonna be able to figure out what's the location of each point. Now, I hope you guys understand this is plotting the points, and when we plot the points, it's like we are going to search on the x-axis first, and x-axis is right here, and y-axis right here. And you are going to have x and y. And then so in this case, if you look at the first point, which is 3, 5, and 3, 5 is going to be going across on x-axis, find positive 3 and positive 5. So actually, I will also tell students it's like riding an elevator. You walk back and forth around the elevator, then you go up and down. So if you have 3, 5, which is what we have here, is you are going to go 1, 2, 3, and 5. You walk left and right, then you go up in the elevator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here is your 3, 5. Okay. And the next one is going to be -4, 2. -4 is x, 2 is y. -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2, which is y, right here. And then we label it -4 and 2. And so forth. Next one, 0, 5. So in this case, we are not going anywhere. It's 0, 0. You start with the x, you walk left and right, okay? So 0 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. 0, 5. Okay, I'm gonna pause, and then you guys try it, the rest of the points, and then come back and check for answers. Okay, so now double check, that's your answer. Don't forget, it's left and right first before you go up and down. That's plotting the points, okay? Going to talk about is determine whether the graph of a set of data points is a linear. Linear means it is a line. Okay, no curviness at all, no stop. So in this case, if you plot it correctly, if you get a straight line, that's a linear. Okay, and eventually I will show you a different way of proving it by using slope formula, which is some of you guys already know. All right, data points that are not linear. Not linear is not a straight line. Okay, and that look like this. And eventually you guys gonna see this kind of curve is actually a parabola curve, and some of you guys already don't know that too. So that's not a linear. So straight line is a linear. Non-straight line is not a linear. Okay, non-linear. All right, next thing. Determine whether a given pair of coordinates is a solution to a given equation with two unknowns. Procedure. 1. Replace the variables in the equation with the corresponding coordinates. That means just plug in the points they give you. And then verify that equation is true. That means both sides equal to each other. So let's take a look at example number 4. Example number 4, you have -4 is the x value, -10 is the y value. That's x, that's y. So now we're going to plug it in like what procedure number 1 says. Replace the variable in the equation with the corresponding coordinates. So y in this case is -10 equals 2 times -4 minus 3. Now let's work it out. That's -10 equals -8 plus minus 3. So it's -10 equals -11. No. That means -4 and -10 in order pairs is not a solution for the equation. That means that if that's just assume that's a line, that is the point. That's not on that line. If it's a solution, it will be on the line. Okay? So just so you know, erasing. Different form. This is in x and m and n on the same side, and that still works the same way. Well, which letter goes first? It's alphabetical order. So M, N, O, P. So M goes first, N goes second. Okay, so it's going to be 2 times 4 minus a -1 because N is -1 equals 9. So 2 times 4 is 8. Negative times negative +1 equals 9. So 9 equals 9. Therefore, it checks. Therefore, yes, 4, -1 is a solution for 2m minus n equals 9. Okay? Then the next one, which is a lot of you guys have fear because it's a fraction. So let's try it. You have, this is again x and that's y. So you have y is going to be -1/3 equals 2/3 times x. X in this case is -2 plus 1. Okay? And then that's going to be -1/3 equals -4/3 plus the 1. I'm going to change it into 3/3 right away. Because guess what? 3/3 is equal to 1. It's totally okay finding the common denominator like what we learned before. So since they have the same common denominator, you don't even have to worry about it, or you can just work it out. 1/3 equals -4 plus 3. That's going to be -1/3. So yes, they are checked. -2, -1/3 is a solution of y equals 2/3x plus 1. The next thing we're going to look for is finding solutions to linear equations with two variables. So here are the procedures. 1, choose a value for one of the variables, any value. 2, replace the corresponding variables with your chosen value. 3, solve the equation for the value of the other variable. Okay? Number 2 is the tricky one. So if you can pick the number correctly, and you should be able to substitute. So let's start. Usually I like to start with something simple. So I would do 0, 1 and 2 or 0, 2 and negative 2, something around there. And the reason I picked that is because it's easy to work with. Okay, now you might have a preference that you want to pick all positive number. That is okay. Right now, this kind of thing, this kind of equation is going to be a straight line. That's not going to be a problem. But eventually, you have to learn how to pick the points because sometimes the line is not straight. So you need to be careful on what type of equation you are working with. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to put down x right here. That's the number we are going to pick. We are going to pick, probably -1, 0, and 1. And then I will put down the y equals 2x plus 1. So this is 2. This is the y value. So I'm going to put y. Okay. Now really y is being represented as 2x plus 1. So what you have to do is really you are taking this is the second step. Replace the corresponding variable with your chosen value. That means your x is going to be -1. So for the next step, we are going to substitute or replace it as they say 2 times -1 plus 1. And because I give you guys lots of space, might as well just show your work there. So that's going to be -2 plus 1, and the answer is going to be -1. So your order pair for that one is going to be -1, -1. Okay, next one, you have 2, plug in the 0 for x, 0 plus 1, and 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1, that's just going to be 1. And that answer for that is 0, 1. Those are your order pairs. The next one is going to be 2 times 1 plus 1. And then if you do 2 times 1, that's 2, plus 1, that's 3. And so your order pair is 1, 3. Now you say, Ms. Wiesman, I don't like my parenthesis on the line. Is that okay? I move over? Oh, of course. I'm just writing it so you guys understand that matches up. So let's move over so it looks a little bit better. There. Okay. So those are your new order pairs. And then I want you to plot them. So you have -1, -1 right here. And then you also have 0, 1, 0, 1. Remember, walk to the right. You have to walk to the location, then go up and down. Remember taking an elevator? So you have 1 and 3. So you go up 1. No, you go over 1 and up 3. 1, 2, 3. Right there. And then connect them, and that should be a straight line. So right here. There it is. Make sure you put the arrows on there. If you don't put the arrows, it will be considered to be wrong. And the reason that arrow is important is because the arrow tells you that line goes on forever. And if you don't have the arrow, that means it's a segment you learned that last year. It stops. So that means it has an endpoint. So arrow has to be there. Any questions? Please let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Moving on to example 6. Example 6 has a little bit different form. And the little different form has no difference. You still plug it in. Okay. Now the thing is, because it's not in the y by itself form, you might have to do a little bit more solving. So in this case, I'm going to just pick the same thing. X is right here. On this side is just 3x plus y. equals 2. So I'm going to solve it and figure out what y equal. This should be y equal. This is y. And the equation I'm using is 3x plus y equals 2. Okay, so now here we go. Picking some of the points, I will still do -1, 0, or 1. You can pick 0, 1, 2. Either one will be okay. All right, so if you do -1, it's going to be 3 times -1 plus y equals 2. Now you have to move around to solve it. So that's going to be -3 plus y equals 2. And plus 3 plus 3. That's going to be y equals 5. Now you say, Miss Wiesman, that is so much work. I have to do that for every problem. Well, technically there's other way of doing it, but eventually we're going to show you. So that's y equals 5. So your order pair is -1, 5. Next one is 3 times 0 plus y equals 2. And because 3 times 0 is 0, so y is just 2. See? 0 is really nice to work with, okay? Unless they told you not to, or for some unknown reason you cannot use 0 anymore, 0 is usually my best choice. That's all. So now you have 0, 2. And last one, you have 1. So 3 times 1 plus y equals 2. And that's 3 plus y equals 2. Minus 3 on both sides. Your y is equal to -1. So your new points is going to be 1 and -1. Okay? So now, Ms. Wiesman, do I need to do 0 and 1 and 2? No, you don't have to. Okay? They only want you to do 3 points. So now we're going to plot this. And if you plot this, you are going to have -1. Remember, you walk left and right first, and then you go up and down. So, -1 and 5, right up here. Next thing, 0, 2. Next one, -1. Oh, 1, -1, 1, -1. Should probably label them. Okay, and put the line through it. And that's how you do that problem. Number 7, you guys' favorite, a fraction. How do we pick fraction? All right, this is how you have to be smart about this. Okay, we are still going to put down x, and we are going to say, hey, this side is going to be y, but in this case, y is equal to -1 over 3x plus 2. Uh-oh. What does that mean? That means I have a fraction. So what we want to do is we don't want fraction. And since we don't want fraction, we want to pick a number that cancel it out. So what we cancel out the 3 on the bottom? Well, I know if I pick 0, it will work. All right, let's do 0. Because anything times 0 is 0. So you are going to have y equals -1 over 3 times 0 plus 2. Ooh, y is just going to be 2. So your first point is 0, 2. Okay. The next one I'm going to pick is 3. And the reason I'm going to pick 3 is because it will cancel out with the 3 on the bottom of your fraction. So let's take a look. So I'm going to pick 3. So y is going to equal to negative 1 over 3 times 3 plus 2. And then if you think about it, and we put fraction underneath that 3 right there, you can actually cancel out the 3, and that part will just become negative 1. The fraction is gone. And plus 2. And that's going to be 1. So answer is going to be 3, 1. And the next one, if you want to pick, I will probably pick negative 3 or 6 or positive 6 or negative 6. It's up to you. The reason for that is, again, it will cancel out with the 3 on the bottom. So let me show you. If I pick negative 6, I will have y equals negative 1 over 3. That's going to be negative 6 plus 2. And because that is a negative 6 over 1, you can cancel them. This and this cancel out. They give you 2. Sorry, that would be too big. That will be 2. Then that's negative. Negative become positive. So it's going to be positive 2 plus 2. And that's 4. So your points is negative 6 and 4. Okay. Now, also need to be a little bit smart about this whole thing. Since our graph is about 10 by 10 most of the time, you don't want to pick numbers that's too big and you have to worry about it's outside of the graph. So negative 6 kind of worked out because it was still within the range of 10 and negative 10. So let's take a look how to plot them and what do they look like. So first one is 0, 2. Remember, you walk to it, then you go up and down. So 0s and 2. The next one is 3, 1. The next one is negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you think about this, you can actually see we can connect them. And then it will go through right there. Oh, sorry, that's really bad. And there's your line. And don't forget to label the points. So that's going to be negative 4, negative 6, 4. Just in case your points is not clear, at least the teacher knows what you mean. 2. And on the bottom is 3, 1. Okay? That is the tricky part of a fraction, but there's a way to get rid of it. Then going on to number 8. Number 8 says complete the table for y equals 3. Well, y equals 3, that means we have a line that is going to be like a horizontal. Now, so in this case, I want you guys to think about this. X and y. Now, y is 3. That means this is 3. This is 3. This is 3. Y is always 3. And if y is always 3, you can pick any x. You can pick 0. You can pick 2. You can pick negative 3. Any number for x could be changed. But the y has stayed as 3. Now, if that is the case, let's plot them. So you'll have your order pair is 0, 3, and 2, 3, and negative 3, 3. And on the quiz, I'm going to ask you to name points. So if you plot them, 0, 3 will look like right here. And 2, 3 is right here. Negative 3, 3 is right here. So therefore, to connect your dots together, you do have a horizontal line. And that is going to be crossing the y-axis at 3. That's the way I will say it. Crossing the y-axis at 3. Look at this. What is the equation said? Y equals 3. Crossing the y-axis at 3. That's how you say it. And that way you will never crossing the y-axis. So I'm crossing the y-axis at 3. And if 1, 2, here are the rules of horizontal lines. Okay? The rules is the graph of y equals c, where c is a real number constant. In this case, 3. That means just another word to say real number. Real number is a number. Okay? A horizontal line parallel to the x-axis. They are this line right here is parallel to the x-axis that pass through the y-axis at a point with the coordinate 0, c. So in this case, if you want to just remember, this is just a definition. So really what happened here is just remember, if you have a y equals a number, you are crossing that axis, crossing the y-axis at that number. That's all. Okay? So now, if you go on to look at the next one, we are going to plot x equals 4. That means, again, 4. X right here, y right here. That means your x is always 4. And the y is going to be, oh, I can do -1, I can do 0, I can do 3, I can do 5. Okay? And then if you plot them, let me write it in order pairs. And 4, 3. And if you have the order pair right here, that's going to be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then -1. And you have 4, 0 right here, and 4, 3. And if you connect the dots, I'm not very good at drawing this. Okay, you notice it will be a line crossing, and this is X. Make sure you label that. Sorry. So it's crossing the x-axis at 4. That's how you can say it. Crossing the x-axis at 4. Right here. Crossing the x-axis at 4. And above it is crossing the y-axis at 3. Okay? So the rule for that one is going to be a vertical line. Okay? And the vertical line says the rules are the graph of x equals c, where c is a real number constant. 2. A vertical line parallel to the y-axis that pass through the x-axis at the point with coordinates. So in this case, just remember, if it's x equals something, crossing the axis. If you have y something, you're crossing the y-axis. And that is for the section 4.1, 4.2 notes. Please let me know if you have any question. Thank you for watching.